week 4 of doing all this code, week 2 of this project, and I'm happy and annoyed at the same time at myself with how far this game has gone within this week. It's definitely improved and it's definitely taking steps forwards, but it was a lot slower than last week. I think my mindset hasn't been completely on it, and I know what happens, and I'm not worried about it. It's just been one of those busy weeks for everything else, and I haven't been able to put as much time as I wanted to into this. But let's go over changes, let's see what's new. First off, basic melody. It's now a channel, it's not a loop, it's not a spam click button. Seducing Tune has still got the same range and same mana cost, but has no cast time, and you're able to now cast the spell while moving. This allows for the class to feel a lot freer and feel a lot more like it should. It's not a range class, but it's not a melee class either. It's a bit of both. And I feel like that can be a unique spot for a bard to be in. Next up, we've got Disrupting Tune, which I want to be the big spell within this class that really feels powerful. And I feel like it does, but it needs a cast time, which is why it still has it. And it still has the same multiplier, whereas multiplied by however many seduction stacks are on the enemy. There's a new speaker to the game. The first speaker is still the same, where it will loop the cat spell, whichever spell you've got, in the same location. So you've got Disrupting Tune. So that was Seduction being looped 3 times. And then if I were to cast Disrupting Tune and do that speaker again, you can see that it loops through and destroys all the seduction stacks. But now, with the gameplay of this solo speaker, is how I've called it, I'm able to use Seducing Tune. We'll stack that up to 3, and then we'll use our mana. We'll use Disrupting Tune on that enemy. Now, if I were to use solo, it now casts Disrupting Tune on that singular target 5 times, which allows for the player in single target situations to only require solo, and then they can be casting Disrupting Tune if they want, or they could use Disrupting Tune solo into Seduction Tune spam, which allows for the speaker itself to be spending the more mana spell and not waste cast time on Disrupting Tune. This allows for more complexity within Bard class itself. Those are the most of the changes that happen to the baseline of what's happened. It should also be noted that solo, the speaker solo, loops around 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should say that was basic melody, so that's why it was an AoE circle. Otherwise, if it's a single target spell, it will cast it as a single target. Whereas the base speaker, that loops around 1, 2, 3 times. This ensures that the base speaker doesn't become your best option for AoE and single target. Again, adding more complexity to the Bard class. Next, we'll move on to utility. Utility in World of Warcraft has always been movement abilities or abilities that get you out of sticky situations. I've not implemented any defensives yet because there's no abilities for the player to be attacked by, so you can't really get a feel or understanding for how it would work. I could just say 10 seconds of invulnerability or something like that, but I don't think that's unique or different. That's just the same old. Mobility-wise, I've done something that I believe is unique to World of Warcraft. The Z-axis has been messed around with every so often, especially within Demon Hunters, but not to the Bard's extent. The Bard has its first main utility, which is a multiple jump system. Roleplay-wise, this would be a Bard pointing at its musical instrument down and using the sound waves to bounce themselves back up. But in this situation, it allows for a player to jump over mechanics that otherwise you'd have to run along with, creating a difficult situation when creating boss fights, but also a unique situation in the idea that this gives players another way of dodging abilities. And that's not a be-all end-all, and I don't think it's too overpowered. I think it can be powerful in specific situations, but never too powered. Especially in PvP, this type of thing in PvP would be really unique, and yes, you could see the Bard going away, but the Bard can't cast spells whilst it's in the air unless it's a speaker. Its speaker is able to be cast. So the Bard might have problems when it uses its ability, because all the player needs to do, especially a ranged player, is just follow them. And on following the player, you can keep on doing damage whilst it can't do anything in response. On top of that, you have got solid sound. So this works in very well with the multiple jump system. If I were to jump up here and I wanted to stay up here, I can use solid sound, which will create a platform for a small amount of time with a long cooldown. But it has 2 stacks. I really enjoy the idea of this, because not only does it ensure that the Bard is safe from damage for a small amount of time, unless ranged of course, but you could try and find ways of making line of sight with this, and that is something that I would need to mess around with and test in an online environment. But it also allows for protection warriors and tanks to use this solid sound as a way of kiting. So a player could communicate with their Bard, place solid sound around the back, so jump up and places the solid sound down. Then the protection warrior could leap onto the solid sound as all of the kited mobs just walk underneath them. That'd be a really new and unique way to challenge dungeons. I believe it would be a nice addition to World of Warcraft. Those are all the changes that I've implemented so far, apart from the beautiful models. I'm not a 3D modeler in the slightest. I make stupidness when doing this. But I thought the Bard needed it. And some nice little target dummies. Anyway, I would love to hear any questions or anything like that. I do hope people are enjoying these videos, because I do put a lot of time into it. And my coding. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be posting it on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please don't be scared to comment, and I'll answer anything. Here's until next week. Goodbye.